What is up, everybody? Mr. Purtis here. Welcome to 5.2b. We're doing the Haitian Revolution. Let's get into this right off the bat here. If you don't know where Haiti is, it's okay. That's what I'm here for. Haiti is located right here. So just a little perspective on where we are. We got obviously Florida right here. We have Cuba right here. And then this island right here is today, modern day, almost split in half. Half of the eastern half of the island is the Dominican Republic, which was a former Spanish colony, and the western half is known as Haiti today, which was a former French colony. So this is part of the colonial period, right? This is the contextualization that it is part of the Age of Exploration period. So the French colonized this area. The French are looking for places to plant new crops, and specifically, they're going to utilize Haiti as a sugar plantation. So most of Haiti and the primary product produced is going to be sugar, but sugar is very labor intensive during this period. You have to harvest the stalk, you have to peel it back, and then eventually you need to granulize it, so put it into what you'd imagine sugar capsules as opposed to a piece of sugar cane. So it's very labor intensive. So they're going to rely heavily on slavery to do this, but it is very strictly controlled by the French. The French have very tight control. That's very strict mercantilism, meaning that the sugar that's produced there goes back to France or to French merchants, and the people of Haiti cannot just sell it to whomever they want, and they have to buy stuff from the French. So very, like we talked about with a lot of these places with mercantilism, it really hurts the colony and makes the mother country wealthy, which is why France, and again, connection, the king in France and the queen in France have so much money, and there's so much wealth being pumped in there to merchants and nobles and the king. The second issue is what is known as chattel slavery. We talked about this with the Age of Exploration. Chattel means property. So we're talking about slaves who are viewed as property and can be bought and sold as property. That is not true of slavery everywhere in the world throughout history, but specifically in the Americas, it is known as chattel slavery. It is harsh. It is horrible. It's one of the worst human atrocities that human beings have ever committed against each other. 85% of the population in Haiti was enslaved. We have about 5% of people who were free. So oftentimes, and I'll get to an example here in a second, but sometimes people are going to be freed by their owners, either when their owner dies, or you could have been the child of slaves and you might have worked in the house, and formed a connection with the slave owner. And 10% of the people were white or of European descent, specifically mainly French, but there are going to be some Spanish people and some British people as well. And overall, about 50% of all slaves in the Caribbean, all right, so all throughout the Caribbean, this is not throughout the North America and South America, but throughout the Caribbean, about 50% of all slaves were in Haiti. So it's a huge slave population there. There's a large amount of people. Number three is we have the Enlightenment and other revolutions. These revolutions don't happen in isolation. There's other stuff going on around the world that causes the inspiration. So we have the Enlightenment ideas, which are mainly coming from France. So Haiti is a French colony, so people are going to hear about the Enlightenment. The American Revolution, America and the United States is only a couple hundred miles away. So the word is going to travel and people are going to realize it. So it's going to be a source of inspiration. So the US Revolution or the American Revolution, the French Revolution that's going on when we're beheading the king is also going to have an impact on this because this is a French colony. So all these things are going on. So what exactly happens? The slaves in Haiti, while the French Revolution is happening, hear word that they're going to get their freedom. It's how rumors start and word spreads that we might get our freedom. So people, the landowners and the slave owners start really tightening their control, and it's going to lead to a rebellion amongst the slave population in Haiti. And it's specifically led by this guy right here. His name is Toussaint L'Ouverture, which is a horrible French pronunciation, so I apologize if you speak French. He is a former slave. So his parents were brought from West Africa to Haiti. He is born from his parents, obviously. And a lot of kids who were born into the slave system were usually in Haiti, not 100% of the time, but oftentimes treated a little better. So they were kind of raised, instead of working in the sugar fields, you were almost raised to be a domestic slave, meaning that you're going to work in the household, serving, cooking, cleaning, those types of things. And a lot of times, not a lot of times, sometimes these domestic servants got so close to the owner that the owner would free them as they came of age, whether it was 18, 25, 30, whatever it was, they would free him. So he is born into slavery. His parents were slaves. His parents worked in the sugar plantations. He is going to be freed. He's a former slave, and he's educated. He's smart. The people that he works for are going to teach him how to read. He knows how to write. So if you're educated, he's similar to like the bourgeoisie in France in the sense, not in terms of money, but in terms of his education level and knowing about the Enlightenment. And he, because of his knowledge about the Enlightenment, he's going to be able to organize slaves throughout Haiti to rise up, along with a couple other people, to rise up against this French colonial rule and this system, which is oppressive and goes against all, slavery, if goes 100% against major Enlightenment ideas and principles, and they're going to rise up. And what's crazy is these slaves actually win. They beat the French power. They beat France, which is insane to think about. And as a result of this outcome of the Haitian Revolution is it becomes the first democracy in history ever. We're going all the way back to Greece, Rome, the United States, the first democracy ever to ban slavery. So it's a really big deal. And that's going to be an inspiration for slaves around the world, because slavery, when the United States is formed, slavery still exists in the United States. And this is going to be an inspiration to slaves. And we're going to see a rise in slave rebellions in the early 1800s in the United States and in other parts of the Caribbean. As a response to this, they're not successful like Haiti, but they do try to fight against the system. When Haiti gets their independence, they do struggle economically. They are a single crop economy or cash crop economy. So they've focused on sugar their whole history. Now the French leave, they're still focused on sugar. And over time, sugar price goes down. So sugar used to be very expensive. Now you can buy it very cheap. So it's going to very much hurt them economically, and they're going to continue to rely on France for trade, because historically that's what they've done. So it's very difficult for them to get out of this situation of being an impoverished country, and they are still today in the modern time struggling economically. It's one of the poorer countries in the Americas. Last, even though it's fully independent, even though there's not a slave system, there is still two tiers. There's the tier of free blacks who are freed before the revolution and those who are freed after the revolution with slavery. So this race-based system and where you were before really still remains. And those who were of quote unquote multi-ethnic, so people who maybe had a European descent parent and an African descent parent are going to be treated better. So a lot of the problems still exist, which is what we see in a lot of these revolutions, that we try and fix the problems, but some problems still remain. But it's a cool story because it's one of the few times in history, the only time in history, that slaves successfully rose up against those who were quote unquote masters and successfully won. So that's Haiti. That's what I got. You got any questions, you write it down. You let me know.